It's the height of the Cold War. In New York, a man mysteriously falls from a hotel window. In Kentucky, a secret experiment feeds prisoners LSD for 2.5 months. In Montreal, a doctor delivers hundreds of electroshocks to his psychiatric patients. How far did the Central Intelligence Agency go to fight the new communist threat? Germ warfare, brainwashing, even murder. What's the real story behind the CIA's secret experiments? Manhattan, 1953, 2 a.m. on a chilly Thanksgiving weekend. The Statler Hotel on 7th Avenue. A man plunges to his death from the 13th floor. Night manager Armand Pastor is first to the scene.
I rushed out, and there I see a body lying next to this partition. I never expected him to be alive, but he was laying there looking at me, trying to speak to me. A very earnest look in his eyes, wide open.
Was it suicide or something more sinister? The dead man is 43-year-old Frank Olson, a biological weapons researcher for the Army at Fort Detrick, Maryland. What few yet know is that Frank Olson also worked for the CIA. Olson's death is just one mysterious piece in a far greater puzzle. One that would shock the average American had they only known. In the wake of World War II, the US government is engaged in a large number of secret medical experiments designed to help win the Cold War. Exposing unknowing members of the public to biological and chemical agents. Developing techniques for mind control to create a so-called Manchurian candidate. Even planning assassinations on powerful third world leaders. What is the extent of these brainwashing experiments? How did the CIA become involved in such far-reaching and disturbing research? D-Day, end of World War II, reveals the full extent of Nazi atrocities. In the concentration camps, medical research on captives includes experiments with their minds as well as their bodies.
The Germans were doing an experiment at Dachau on things like hypnosis and the use of drugs for interrogation to try and find out ways of controlling people, of making people tell against their will.
An attempt to master the art of mind control. In the years that follow, the Cold War escalates at an alarming rate, with the superpowers competing for military and scientific supremacy. Espionage is the name of the game. The CIA embarks upon a multi-million-dollar, highly classified research program into the covert use of biological and chemical materials, an innocuous term for a frightening array of unorthodox weapons. Bacteria to infect the enemy, poisons for assassinations, truth drugs for interrogations. Spearheading these clandestine efforts is Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, head of the CIA's top-secret chemical division. Gottlieb works closely with Army scientists at Fort Detrick, Maryland, developing biological weapons for the agency's use.
Included in the medicine chest at Fort Detrick would have been anthrax, the plague, brucellosis, all the major diseases.
In 1953, these special operations at Fort Detrick are headed up by Frank Olson. The week of Thanksgiving, Olson's in New York on a doctor's visit. but details are sketchy. He never makes it home. His family learns of his death early Saturday morning. Olson's son Eric is 9 at the time.
And they basically said, you know, we have something we have to tell you, and proceeded to say that my father had fallen or jumped out of a window in New York City.
The story is as vague as it is devastating.
There were no details, absolutely none.
According to the medical report, Olson's neck and face are badly lacerated. At the funeral, the casket remains closed.
And the explanation there was that they said he was too badly injured to be seen.
Unbeknownst to the family, present at the funeral are 2 men from the CIA, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb and his deputy, Dr. Robert Lashbrook. For there's something Olson's family doesn't yet know. Agent Lashbrook was in the New York hotel room when Olson fell out the window and died. The mysterious circumstances of Olson's death raise many questions. Some answers lie buried in his secret life, working for the CIA. Olson's specialty is aerosol delivery systems. But by 1953, his career has evolved into top secret research into germ warfare and more. Together, the CIA and the Army's Special Operations plan experiments on the dispersal of their new biological weapons. More than once, they simulate an attack on an entire city. One target, the nation's most populous metropolis, New York. The intention, to evaluate how easy it is to poison a city by releasing bacteria into the subway system. Staff from Fort Detrick, posing as industrial contractors, position themselves over the subway vents. They surreptitiously drop harmless bacteria onto the tracks, while monitoring agents wait to take samples throughout the network. Turbulence from the trains quickly carries the germs through the tunnels, infecting the entire subway system in a matter of minutes. With a more lethal substance, a similar attack on an enemy city could be efficient and deadly. The CIA is not alone in its effort to develop new weapons against the communists. America forms a tripartite agreement with Canada and Great Britain, the 3 nations working together to win the Cold War. British research into biochemical warfare is carried out at the Army base in Porton Down, southwest England.
Porton Down led the world in biochemical research during the 30s and 40s. Porton Down knew about the attempt to infiltrate the subway system in New York. There was a constant exchange of information. It was very normal on any given day to find 1 or more American scientists at Porton Down.
In May 1953, scientists at Porton Down are researching one of the most lethal nerve agents known to man, sarin. The experiments are conducted on military volunteers, but the young servicemen have no idea what they are letting themselves in for.
On the board there was a separate notice, typed, which said in so many words, volunteers wanted to help